Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with another one of my Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition videos. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the races of D&D 5th edition Player's Handbook. There are a lot of extra races out there. You can find them online. You can go to the different worlds, because there's multiple different worlds that you can play in Dungeons & Dragons, but the official canon world currently is Forgotten Realms, right? Even so, in Forgotten Realms, it's so vast and so versatile. It could have any race, any class, anywhere, right? But I'm going to tell you what I do with my game. You can do it like this or not. You can do it the way you want to do it. Officially, Dungeons & Dragons only recognizes 4 races, right? They only recognize 4 races. And guess what they are? Humans, halflings, dwarves, and elves. Those are the player races, okay? Now, the book has a bunch of what they call uncommon races, like the tiefling, the dragonborn, the gnome, the half-elf, and the half-orc. Okay, so let's talk about the gnome and the tiefling. Let's talk about the uncommon races. Okay. And let's talk about how this would or would not fit in your campaign, and I'm going to tell you why they don't fit in my campaign. Or why some of them don't, because I do have quite a few. Okay. To me, a half-orc and a half-elf are very possible creatures to exist in a good society. I will tell you right now that yes, you have a lot of different alignments that players can play. They can play good, they can play evil, they can play neutral. I run good campaigns. Players, the people involved in my story, are good people. Okay? They're always going to be good. They're going to maybe lawful, chaotic, neutral, whatever, but they're good. And they go on these quests because it's the right thing to do. And yeah, they're probably going to get paid. They're probably going to, but what they're doing is they're rescuing somebody. They're stopping some dragon from destroying the universe. They're stopping this evil wizard from bringing forth a demon or whatever. These are all good things. These are good, epic quests. I do not allow evil type characters in my world. And I definitely do not allow chaotic neutral characters in my universe. Chaotic neutral characters do exist, but not players. Players cannot be chaotic neutral. But we're not talking about alignments right now. We're talking about races. I'll get into alignments later. But so having said that my story focus is a good focus, where the players are motivated by doing the right thing, I do not want races in my game that violate that, right? So you say, Derek, you can have a good tiefling, you can have a good dragonborn. Okay, let's back up. Elves, no problem. Super good all the time, unless you're drow, right? But those aren't players. Okay. Halflings, good all the time. No problem. Humans, good. Sometimes, most of the time. Okay. And then you've got dwarves, good almost all the time, unless you're Duragar or something, right? Okay, so those races, guaranteed player base. And that's why D&D Wizards said these are our normal races, because all the other ones, gnomes, good all the time, pretty much. They're selfish, but they're good. I allow gnomes. Half elves, they could be evil, they could be good. I don't have a problem with that. You know, that wasn't their fault that they're. I can see a human and elf getting together and having half elf. I don't have a problem with that. Bring them into the game. Half orc, same thing. I can see. I can maybe see an orc and a human like voluntarily getting it on, maybe, but it's usually the product of a rape, right? Uh, Pillaging or whatever, right? And if that's the case, the kid is going to be raised by the human parent because a half orc in my campaign as a player has to be goodly, not not lawful good if he doesn't want to be. That's fine. That's but whatever. But I'm saying that they got to be kind of goodly or good dispositioned, so they have to be raised by the human parent. And the human parent was good, maybe was raped or whatever. Um, and usually what that means is it's the mother, because very few female orcs are going out raping male humans. And that's what I'm thinking, right? So it's got to be like a male orc, maybe from the Many Arrow tribe or something, came to a human village. They did some pillaging, and one of them like banged a human, and she later had an orc and raised it, and or discarded an orphanage or whatever. But it was all a good thing. So this orc will grow up being a human, have a lot of human features, uh, psychology wise, right? And that's the way I want my orc players to play their orcs. Now I'm not getting into individual races really right now. I'm kind of giving you the whole overall gist. Okay, so half elves, half orcs, gnomes, no problem. Add them in there. Okay, so that leaves us with tieflings and dragonborn. I don't allow them. Don't allow either one in my campaign. Yeah, there's Goliaths and there's, shoot, I don't even know some of these other races that exist that you might get from a module. I think Temple of Elemental Evil has the Goliath in it, and I think a few of these other 5th edition books have other races. I don't care. I'm not using them, right? It's my game. I'm not going to use them. But I will allow half orcs, half elves, gnomes when it gets to tieflings and dragonborn. The reason why I don't use a tiefling is because, first of all, it's from Dragonlance. Tieflings originally came from Dragonlance. I'm not running Dragonlance. That's not my campaign. My campaign is Forgotten Realms. I understand they've all kind of sundered, and they were kind of like intermixed, and they're all kind of in the same universe and all that stuff, but no Dragonlance. Okay, and then I'm also not using Dragonborn and okay, back up. Tieflings. Tieflings are part demon. They have demon blood in them. No, tieflings might exist, but they're going to be evil. They're going to be demon spawn, right? So, no tiefling players. If you allow evil characters in your campaign, sure, go ahead, throw a tiefling in there. Okay, I don't allow that. Dragonborn. Dragonborns, I can understand them. I understand how they could possibly exist. Sure. I can understand where they might be a good person, because maybe they were raised by the gold dragon or whatever, right? So you're like they're 50-50. Maybe the gold dragon was in human form and did something, and so that. But according to what I'm understanding is they were hatched from an egg, from a dragon. Where'd that humanoid features come from? No. Okay. But that's not it. That's not why I'm not using them. I mean, that whole story behind them is crazy, but this is why I'm not using them. They're too powerful. They're too powerful. Okay. So that's why I'm not using Goliaths. They're too powerful. And I look at a half orc and I say, man, he's pretty powerful. But if the player can run him as a retard, then you're okay. So you gotta use caution when using any of these uncommon races because they can break your game. But I don't allow Dragonborn. They're too powerful. And yes, I have half dragons in my world, and guess what? They're evil, or they're not evil. They're just because there's monsters out there that are good. There's good monsters like a gold dragon or whatever. like a Rakshas. Well, I don't even know if a Rakshas is good, but you have like neutral monsters out there. You know, the ones that just live off the land or whatever. You got good ones, you got evil ones, whatever. I put the Dragonborn in that category. They're half dragons. You have half dragons, you have Dragonborn. Are they the same thing? In my eyes, they are. So, not a player race. Okay, so that's what I'm doing with my races, right? I'm not using Dragonborn. I'm not using Tieflings. I am using all the other ones. And when it comes to the humans, you know, there's so many different races of humans, and then there's gnomes, but basically everybody in my campaign is a good person. Okay, so let's talk about these races a little bit, and then and I got my book right here, and I'm taking a look. We'll start with Dwarf, right? The Dwarf character. Iconic. Everything in a fantasy universe, pretty much 99% of everything in any fantasy universe comes from Lord of the Rings. J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings was first. It came out in the 40s, 30s, and all these creatures and races come from those books. That's probably why I play good campaigns and have to make them epic. You know, go destroy the ring in the Mount Doom, you know, or whatever. But dwarves, you get all their history and all their backstory and everything straight from the Lord of the Rings. They have grudges. They live in the mountains, in caves, you know, strongholds. They hoard gold. They don't like elves. All that came from Lord of the Rings. Okay. Then you go to elves. Okay, there is kind of a difference in, guess what? D&D. You got wood elves and you got high elves. And you got dark elves too, but wood and high elves, right? Guess where they came from? Lord of the Rings. Okay, so you got sylvan elves in the woods, you know, sylvan, you know, woods. And then you've got the high elves, which is the Noldor or whatever in Lord of the Rings. And their look and appearance and everything straight from Lord of the Rings, right? So big difference, the big difference between D&D elves and Lord of the Rings elves are the D&D elves are more European elves in appearance, like a European mythological elf would have been shorter, maybe 5 feet tall, right? Where the Lord of the Rings elves are like 6'9", something like that. So there's a big difference in height when it comes to Lord of the Rings versus D&D / European elves. Lord of the Rings elves can walk on the snow and stuff like that. D&D elves can't do that, right? So there is a little bit of a difference. Elves, very aloof, they use bows all the time. They're highly dexterous, you know. Spears, all their armors are ornate and stuff like that. So that's straight from Lord of the Rings, right? Okay. Then we go to halflings, right? D&D calls their, I don't even know if their next one is a halfling. Yep, halfling. D&D calls their halflings. Okay. Where in Lord of the Rings they were hobbits with a nickname halfling, because the orcs would call the hobbits halflings because they were like half the size of a human, right? Well, halflings in Lord of the Rings have like bare feet, hairy feet, and they would great for being a thief because they're very nimble on their fingers and they're very small so they can sneak into places. That came from Lord of the Rings. Are all halflings Bilbo? No. I mean, you have Merry and Pippin. They were fighters. right? And then you got Sam. I don't even know what he was. Merchant, maybe. But all halflings aren't Frodo and Bilbo. You know, even Frodo was more of a fighter than a thief. Bilbo was not even a thief, right? So, I mean, they hired him as a burglar, but that really isn't what his job. I mean, I don't think that he was a writer. Okay, so he was supposed to write the story of the orcs or the dwarves. But either way, okay, so the dwarves came and hired halfling, right? So D&D halflings are stereotypical Bilbos, just Bilbo, not the whole halfling race. And the whole halfling race came from Lord of the Rings, right? Okay. In D&D, the halflings wear shoes. Yep. They have shoes, you know, but other than that, they still love music. They still love food, a lot of food, just like Lord of the Rings. It's just that their feet aren't giant, they're not hairy, and they wear boots. That's the big difference. Okay, so, and then we go to humans. Self-explanatory. Okay, even the humans, okay, have different countries they come from, and those countries are located in different areas of the world. And because they're located in different areas of the world, they do have different physical features. Like there are human races from the desert. They would look like maybe Arabs, you know. There's a group of humans that I think they come from a very sandy area, not a desert necessarily, and they kind of look like Egyptians. And then you got these humans that come from the far east, which they kind of would be more of the samurai style dress and appearance, because you'll see that there are adventures. There are stories and things like that would come from those. And then there's the Northmen, you know, they look like barbarian Vikings or whatever. And then you got the people out on the sea. And then, so yeah, each of the different areas, then you got traditional Cormier people. They're Tetherians, or what do they call them? Not the Aluskans. The Aluskans are kind of north. They're Tetherians. They're the Cormier guys. They're the ones that look just like standard European guys. Okay, and then you got all different kinds. So humans do have a variety of different races, and those are all drawn from Earth. You know, so you can actually kind of almost equally translate some people from Earth into the Forgotten Realms in a different area. You just have to kind of figure out which one of these Forgotten Realms races are the race you're looking for. Okay. Okay. Half elves, half orcs. We already talked about that. Tieflings, dragonborns, you know, we don't exist. Not in my world. Okay, and so those are the races. Now we're not really talking about the pluses and the minuses and what kind of abilities they have and things like that. That's real. That's all in the player's handbook, and you can check that out. And also, in future videos, what we'll do is we'll talk about the different classes, and then like maybe after that we'll talk about race class combinations. But right now, these first few videos are just going to be kind of like a warm-up, a teaser, a summary, and then we'll get into the details in future videos. Like I'll pick up one class and I'll say the fighter and then go through the fighter, or I'll go take paladin and go through the paladin. Oh my gosh, I got all kinds of things to talk about the paladin, right? So ranger, paladin, and are you going to allow every class in your game? Okay, we're not really in the class video, but I'm going to tell you, I don't allow every class. I don't think they're necessary. Okay, we'll get into that. That'll probably be my next video. What classes I use in my game. All right. Remember, like, subscribe, and if you want to donate, we do accept those. Catch you on the next one.